Hey, it's your girl Yolanda Lewis, host of the Grown and Real Talk Show, here with the fabulous Alissa R. Jones. And we're going to talk today about her, all that she has going on in her world, and the impact she's making in the greater here. So first up, tell me about the organization and what it's about.
The organization is Survivors with Voices organization, and what it's about is really promoting that survivor to use their voice, to empower the next survivor. So that's what we're about.
Awesome. And what type of survival do you guys represent? Because there's many,
Right.
Domestic abuse, there's sexual abuse, which is my particular background.
Right.
What survivor's voice are you looking to speak to?
Actually, to be honest, it started with my testimony, which is of sexual abuse, just like yourself. But I've opened the door where it is any survivor. As long as you're willing to use your voice to empower the next survivor, we welcome all survivors from all walks of life and all kinds of travesties.
Oh, wow.
So we have survivors that have HIV, we have survivors that have been in sexual abuse, child molestation, domestic violence, breast cancer, and the list goes on. So we're open and welcome to any survivor that walks through our door.
Wow. And tell me more about the celebration of that, because as you know, as a survivor as well, there is a process that you have to go through for healing,
Right.
And then there is a victory, and the victory is in the celebration of the life you live after.
Right. I call it walking through
Yes,
freedom.
yes.
And I tell all my survivors when they first come to me, it's that depressed moment, that moment where we have to get them to a point to just start talking about it. And what I don't think people realize is the more you talk about, your travesty, and the more you talk about it, that it actually starts and promotes healing. And a lot of people don't understand that. I suffered with my story for 23 years before I even talked about it. And once I shared it, I realized that I wasn't alone. And so understanding that you're not alone, it takes away the suicidal thoughts. It takes away all the depression thoughts, and understand that there's a group of people that are just like you going through it, but they made it through. And so they made it through. There's hope for you to make it through as well.
Tell me about your experience with the relational part of it, because Grown and Real Talk, we are all about women and relationships, and I'll give you a little bit of context to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, with my experience, I too held my secret for it was about 23 years before
Wow.
I told anyone.
Right.
And then it was another 6 years after that before I actually wrote about it.
Mm-hmm.
But within that time, thank God for my husband, girl.
We're not even going to talk about my husband.
Listen. Thank God for husbands and giving me space when I needed all that kind of stuff. But my point is, there is a place in the relational realm where those issues impact how you interact with people. Women, just on a friend level as well as a romantic level. Tell me about how a survivor goes through that to the end so that other people can hear her voice.
Right, and I'll just speak from my experience because, in my relationship now, this is my second marriage. So I was married before, and in that marriage, what I learned is I learned so much about myself. And even though I failed at marriage, what I succeeded at was really understanding and knowing that the abuse that I suffered at 11 years old impacted that relationship. I went through that relationship very guarded, and even just not with the marriage in particular, but with relationships with females. I was very guarded because, honestly, my mother didn't protect me. So I was angry. And so with that, though, what I understood when I did start sharing after those 23 years is that it affected my marriage. And I felt ashamed because I failed at marriage. I did everything I could to hold it together. And when it got through going through the divorce process, I had to take some time to figure out who Alissa was and get back to, okay, what can I do differently? And so I had to really make a different change in my relationship. And to be honest, when I got with my husband now, I carried some of those things into the relationship, even though I was divorced. But just like you said, it takes that man to help you get through that. He had to teach me some things about myself. And so with that, I really had to understand, you know what? He made me stand still. Let's just say that. He made me stand still and say, you know what, you're going to face this head on so you can move forward. And, you know, all the chains broke off of me at that point, and I really had to look at my husband and say, you know what, I had to work on me to love him better. Because see, in my marriage before, I didn't love myself, so I couldn't give love that I didn't have. I had hatred, I had anger, I had pain in my heart. I couldn't give him the love that I needed to give him as a husband at that time. When I got married for the first time, I thought I could change him. I thought I could fix him. I wanted to make him into this image of a man, not waiting for what God had for me. So I tell people all the time, I needed to go through that experience. I needed to go through that divorce to get to where I am now. So don't be ashamed of your failed marriage. Don't be ashamed that you failed at marriage. Don't be ashamed at all, because God has something even better for you. So I'll say it again. My husband loved me past my pain.
That's so beautiful. It's exactly what marriage is about. It's about that depth of love that you can only experience in that space of freedom.
Right.
Freedom from your past, freedom from anger. I too walked in a lot of anger.
Yes.
I broke so many tables. I'm telling you.
Tables,
Okay,
televisions,
listen,
walls.
windows. Okay. So I can relate to that on a very personal level, and I think a lot of women can. And I think that's what makes what you're doing so amazing. So thank you for standing up and letting your voice be heard, so that women could then feel okay with sharing their story and their voice as well, and with whatever their journey is. It doesn't matter if you failed or if you've had one marriage and you just went through a whole lot of failures. Okay, because that's what my story.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your background is. There is a point of survival. There is a point of victory where you can share your story. I love it. So tell us about your upcoming event.
Man, I tell you, I get excited when I talk about my event. You know, I've been doing the conference for the last 3 years. And so it's like now we're coming up on our 5-city tour, and it's us really branching out and reaching more survivors than what we was reaching in Houston. So just to be able to take it on the road and impact so many survivors, we've been already getting testimonies and the excitement of us coming. So we have the Voice Your Invisible Wounds Conference, Unlock Your Voice 5-city tour. My heart is joy about it because it's really stepping out on faith and really understanding that trusting God each step of the way to make an impact in the lives of survivors.
Talk about that journey. I think people take for granted when women stand on a platform like you have and put on this program for other women. It takes huge faith.
Yes.
To accomplish
yes,
that.
It does.
Huge faith. So I commend you for stepping out and trusting God on a whole nother level for this another level of what you're doing.
Man, listen, it's another level for sure.
So how can people register? How do they show up at either of the cities? What do they need to do?
They need to go to www.unlockyourvoicetour.com. We actually have the registration open for Columbus, Ohio, and Philadelphia. And so the 5 cities we'll be going to is Columbus, Ohio, which that's where I'm from. I'm born and raised Springfield, Ohio, but we're going to hit Columbus, Ohio, and then we're going to Philadelphia, then we're going to Virginia, and then we'll be here in Atlanta, ATL, and then we'll be ending the tour in Houston, where I built the organization.
Wow, that's powerful, super powerful. Well, thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
I hope that everyone takes advantage of the tour and the Survivor's Voice initiative, because it is powerful and you need to be there. And if you don't need to be there, I know you know someone who does. Right. So bring that sister along, share with her the message, and stay tuned.